All right, this is part 7 in what has become longer than the 7-part series. And in part 6 we talked about 2 Thessalonians 2, and that before the coming of the Lord and our gathering together to Him, which is the resurrection and rapture of the church, there will be two things that happen. One is the Antichrist will be revealed, and the other thing will be a great falling away, and the word is Apostasia. So the word Apostasia is what's at question today. And I'm just going to read from my book because I wrote it the way I saw it and I researched it. And one of the things you got to remember is that the church never held the view that the word Apostasia means rapture. They never taught it that way. Nobody ever held it that way. And I'm sure they could have had differing views, but nobody ever even suggested it. So for a person to come along and say that Apostasia has to mean rapture, they're basically saying, I know more than the church, which is kind of a large thing to imply. So let's look at the word Apostasia for a second. Apostasia is always used in the Bible in conjunction with a religious falling away. In Acts 21:21, Paul is accused of teaching people to turn away from the teaching of Moses, which is apostasia, or fall away. Next, when the idea of being caught up in the air or taken up is trying to be conveyed in the New Testament, the word harpazo is used. You can reference 1 Thessalonians 4:17 of the rapture of believers, Acts 8:39 of Philip, 2 Corinthians 12:2-4 of Paul, and Revelation 12:5 of the man-child. This would be the most accurate word to use if rapture was the idea that Paul was trying to convey. But he didn't. Next, analambano is a word that describes Jesus' ascension into heaven and is used in Acts 1, verse 2 and verse 11 and verse 22. Mark 16:19 and 1 Timothy 3:16 to describe our Lord's ascension. Paul could have used this word, but he didn't. Next, two other synonyms for taken up, or that imply rapture, a rapturous idea, are ero and epero. Paul could have also used these, but he didn't. Next, Paul would have eliminated any confusion if he had used harpazo, right? This is the word that's always translated rapture. Or the word he started the chapter with was episunago, which is gathered together. It's also used in Matthew 24:31, the gathering of the elect. Okay, this is the same word used in Matthew 24. Paul could have used this word to eliminate any confusion because he started the chapter with it, but he didn't. Next, Matthew uses the synonym sulago 7 times in chapter 13, describing from Jesus' parable the gathering together at the end of the world, the wheat and the tares. Paul surely could have used this word too, but he didn't. The entire objective of Paul for writing 1 and 2 Thessalonians was to clear up any confusion about the resurrection, the coming of the Lord, and our being gathered together to Him. If he was trying to portray a rapture by using the word apostasia, then he blew it, because he just caused more confusion than he cleared up. If he meant rapture, he would have said rapture, or resurrection. He would have used that word too, but he didn't. Paul should have used episteme. This is where the confusion comes in. Episteme is akin to apostasia. Episteme means depart. But Paul didn't use episteme, he used apostasia. Okay? I get a vision of a square peg being pounded with a hammer halfway into a square peg being pounded halfway into a round hole, and then the person go, look, it fits. Yeah, it fits, but it doesn't fit right. It's not correct. And the one clear, glaring problem is that no one in church history ever held to this view. The truth of the matter is that coming of the Lord and our gathering together to Him, which is resurrection and rapture, won't happen until these two things happen first. There needs to be a temple for the Antichrist to be revealed in the temple. So, with that said, do some research on apostasia. See if you can find it anywhere in church history that the church held the view of the modern scholars. And see if you can find any other linguistic experts who translate the Bible that would hold that view as well. I don't think you'll be able to find it. So with that said, happy hunting. I hope you search and find the truth.